In this video, we're going to be talking about library management in R using the libr package. So we'll load this package right here. And the first function that we want to look at is this libname function. And for anybody coming from the Sass world, this libname function would be very familiar with you. It is set up exactly the same way as a Sass libname. The first parameter here is the name of the library that you want to assign. The second parameter is the path to that library. And the third parameter is the engine that you want to use to import that data. And what just happened when I ran that function, the files I'm loading are over here in this SDTM directory. You can see them here. And when I just ran that function, it just loaded every one of those files into this libname, which is a list. So it went onto the disk and imported all those files, stuck them in this list. And now I can access those using list syntax. So this is extremely convenient. It also gave me some information about the number of rows and columns in those files, the size, last time it was modified. So these are all nice informational features that appear when you run a libname. If I wanted to go look at one of those data sets, I could do that by running the view function on it. And here's my data set. And you can now use this just like any other R data frame. It's a data frame that can be sent into functions, and you can do analysis and whatever you like on it. In this first example, we looked at SAS data sets, but now in the second one, we are going to load in some CSV data. This is an Atom directory, and it works the exact same way. I have all those different Atom data sets that were loaded. I can see some information about them. I can access them using the $sign syntax, and I can view them using the viewer. So despite the fact that this is CSV data, there's no difference in the way this function operates. And the function can also import R data files and Excel files, DBase files, and some different formats. So this is one function that can basically import the most commonly used types of data files. And so you might be thinking, well, I just loaded all those into a list, but what if I don't want all of them? What if I have like 100 data frames and I don't want them all loaded into memory? So what can I do about that? And there's a parameter on this function called filter that allows you to specify like exactly which data sets that you want to load. So here I passed it a vector with the names of the two data sets that I wanted to load, and it went and got those and stuck them in my libname. Notice I didn't have to put the file extension. I already know what the file extension is. It's right here. So you just put the name of the files that you're trying to get at, and it will go get them. And that parameter takes a wildcard. If I want to get all the data sets that start with a D, I can do that here. And there's another interesting parameter on this function, which is this where expression. And the use case here is that you have some very large data sets and you're programming something and you don't want all the data loaded because it's slowing down your program. And so maybe you want to just look at one subject in your data sets. So how can you do that? Well, you send in an expression to this where parameter. And now I'm going to both filter only the data sets that start with a D, and then also only get the one subject from those data sets. And you'll notice the last time I did this, I had 3,587 rows, 87 rows, and I now have 28, 1, and 2. And that's because in all of those data sets, I only have this one subject in here. So this is like incredibly convenient, and you can use this a lot to help speed up your programming. Another very useful feature of this package is this export capability. So here I have my SAS datasets in this library SDTM, and I can export those to another file format, in this case RDS, to this other directory SDTM2. I'm going to give it a new libname SDTM2, and what this will do is convert all of those SAS datasets to RDS files and stick them in this SDTM2 directory. So let's go look at that. Here is the SDTM2 files, and they have just been created. The SDTM2 libname works now exactly like the other one. If I wanted to go look at data sets in there, I can access that with the $sign syntax. Here's the exact same thing, but now I am going to export to XPT, the SAS transport file format. And now I have a new directory for those transport files. And this function, the export function, also supports RDA, RData, Excel, XPT, CSV, and DBase files. Besides exporting and loading a libname, there's actually quite a lot of other features in this package in terms of library management and managing the data in your library. The whole idea of like library management doesn't really exist in R. You just work with individual files, but this package supports the idea of working with whole groups of files. And so here's a function that, for instance, will load up your libname, and then I can go add something to that libname. So I just added my empty cars data set, and you can see that here. And then I can also remove that if I realize I don't really want that in my SDTM data library. I can kill that. I can also pull something out and change it. So here I'm going to pull out my DM data set from my SDTM3 library, and I'm going to go add a column. And in this column, I'm going to categorize the age variable into less than 50 or greater than 50. And let's go look at that data. There's my new column, age cat. And I'm going to replace the original DM dataset with that new one that I just changed, and then write that to disk. And you'll notice that when I wrote that, I now have a new date stamp on the modified date, and everything else is the same because those didn't change. So only those ones that you change will be actually written to disk, which is nice. And this last example here, this thing was exported from SAS datasets, and I might decide that I don't want it anymore. I can kill the entire thing, and now that library is gone. All the datasets in that library are gone. There's another feature here I just want to show you, which is these data dictionaries. So here's my SDTM2 library, and there's a dictionary function in this package which allows you to view the data dictionary for, in this case, the entire libname. So here I just pop this open in the viewer, and I can see the name of the data set that we're talking about, the columns on that data set, what kind of variable it is. Is it a character, a numeric, or something else? If there's labels on the data set, they will appear here. I can see the rows, all those different properties of the data. And you can see as I scroll down, I can see not only that first one, the AEs, but every data set in this libname, which is really great. Particularly if you are looking for a variable and maybe you don't know which data set it's in, you can use this viewer to hit the filter property here and go search for something that you're looking for. So that's very convenient. And if you're kind of old school and you don't like that viewer, you can also print things to the console. Now the dictionary comes out as a tibble, and you can see here that I just printed the first 10 rows. And if I want all the rows, the tibble instruction is telling me to print n equals whatever. And that looks like this. And I can now print all the rows in that dictionary. So that is for all the data sets in that libname. If I want a specific one, I can run a dictionary function on that and go see just the information for that specific data set. And that dictionary function works not just with things coming out of a libname, it works with anything. You throw basically any data set into that dictionary function, and it will tell you which columns are on it and what the class of those columns are, how many rows, and so forth. So this is quite a convenient function when you want to explore your data sets. And that is a quick overview of library management using the libr package.